What if I told you the reason why you're not closing deals is the same reason why you're not getting any 304s? If you don't know what a 304 is, just Google that. Today we're going to talk about the art of pulling away. You never want to be more excited or interested in doing a deal than the seller is. Never. And it's the same with girls, right? You never want to be more interested in that girl than that girl is in you, right? That's a life lesson. If your pops ain't teach you that one, the big dog did. I got you. So today we're going to talk about how to pull away effectively and why pulling away from sellers and being a don't wanter is one of the most powerful skills that you could ever have. Pulling away is literally being ready, willing, and able to walk away from any deal at any time. It's crazy because just this week, we had a deal that we're about to close on. We're selling this property on a wrap to a buyer, right? So this is gonna be a homestead buyer who's gonna move into the property. He tried to cancel the contract the day before that we're supposed to close because the closing costs were too high. Now, this guy already paid his earnest money. We're, like I said, a day before closing. He's put effort into this. We put effort into this. My transaction coordinator, Paige, shout out to Paige. She called me at 5:45 in the morning, freaking out, right? She's like, oh my gosh, Daryl, the deal's not going to close. The deal's not going to close. The buyer's threatening to back out, all this stuff. And my answer was very simple. I stayed extremely calm. And I said, Paige, you may not like my answer to this, but hold your ground. I said, hold your ground, and I am completely fine with this guy not closing, right? I'm 1,000% okay with him walking away from the deal. And she's like, are you sure? And then I asked her another question. I said, what he said to you, right? When he talked about the closing costs, because the closing costs were too high is what she told me, right? So I said, when he said that, was he actually complaining or was it an actual objection, right? And she said, well, he did just say that the closing costs were too high. So I said, it sounds like a complaint. It doesn't sound like a real objection, right? So why are we freaking out? Be ready, be willing, show him that we don't care and we will find another buyer, right? And you have to be cold-blooded just like that, right? And I told her to do that. And what happened? She called the buyer back. Later, she said, oh my gosh, Daryl, can you read minds or something? Because how did you know that he was going to find the money, right? And it happens every time, right? All sellers, buyers, no matter what you're selling, if you're not interested and you show that you're not interested and you're willing to walk away from this deal, that's going to have this person want to bring you back, right? Fear of loss. People do not want to lose something. People are super scared to lose something that's in front of their hands. So if I have, in that instance where Paige called me and we're about to lose out on this deal, this guy's threatening to cancel on this deal, right? If I show him that I am completely okay with him not buying this house and I'm completely okay with starting this process over again and finding a new buyer, he's going to shit his pants, right? He's not going to know what the hell to do. Now let's flip it, right? Let's say I didn't stand my ground and I said, okay, well, I'll pay the closing costs or I'll pay half the closing costs. You don't have to pay that. You think he's going to stop there? Hell no, right? He's going to keep poking and keep trying to see how far he can go. It's like a kid. He's like my dog. Like you might even hear him in the background. This dude likes to keep on poking and keep on going to see how far you can go until you actually put your foot down and say, no, enough is enough, right? Like I'm ready to walk away from this deal. It's completely fine, right? I'm cool with that. And watch how much they crawl back to you, right? And in this instance, when we're talking about talking to sellers, right? The story that I just told, we were talking to a buyer. It's all the same though. But when we're talking to a seller, you never want to be in a position to where the seller is the one that's telling you no, that we're not a good fit. You always want to be the person who's saying, I don't think I'm a good fit. I don't think I'm a good buyer. Maybe you should do this and position yourself. Take your buyer's cap off and put your go do something with your life. Go lay down. You have to be able to take your buyer's cap off and put your consultant cap on to show them that, hey, I don't need to buy this house. We talked about it a little bit in the sales structure video where it's the psychology of a seller, right? A seller who's looking to sell a property, a real estate property. And I mean, I get it, right? This is their precious property. Most people only buy or sell one or two properties in their lifetime. So this is one of the most prized possessions. So when they sell it, right, a lot of it's emotional attachment, and it gives them it makes them feel like they have more power and control in this situation than they do. Which, I mean, they do. They don't have to sell to us, right? But if they don't sell to us, we need to have the mindset that it's not that big of a deal. Because there's so many houses out here. I can go buy your neighbor's house if I wanted to. I'm the one with the money. In any sale, in any deal, right? And any sale in general, the buyer, the person who has the money, controls the conversation. They control the deal. Because your deal isn't worth anything if me as a buyer, if I'm not willing to pay it, or if no buyer at all is willing to pay what you're asking for, right? So I am completely fine with walking away from a deal. And yes, I've lost some deals like that where I've walked away and, you know, it just didn't work, where they maybe did have an offer that was a little higher than mine, and maybe it did work. Maybe the house did sell. But most times they're lying about the other offers that they're getting, and the house is not going to get sold to somebody else, right? So if you know that your numbers are not good and you know that the deal is not good, you want to get better terms, try to pull away. Try to be a don't wanter and pull away from the next seller that you talk to, and watch them start crawling back because they are scared to lose what they have in front of them. I go super in depth with this in my sales course, so make sure you guys stay tuned.
They tryna talk, they not in a